All right, the reporting system is our last source of data, the one that everybody's interested in. And so these are actual counts. These aren't estimates or indices. This is the real deal. We issued 227,000 sets of deer tags this year. It doesn't mean that they all hunted. We still can't, completely say what that number is, but that's higher, as you remember, that's higher than the mail survey estimate. However, if you add it back, remember the mail survey estimate did not include youth or senior hunters. So this one does. This is everybody. If you kind of add back those numbers, you're looking at a fairly similar total, around 250,000 deer hunters in Louisiana. The total number reported from the system, like if online or by phone, was right at 96,000 deer. If you add back in the WMA managed hunt and programmed deer, you're looking at a total of pushing 117,000 deer. And as y'all remember, that's again lower than the mail survey index. Sex ratio of that group, again, not even 50-50, 58% male, 42% female, or about 1.2 bucks per doe. What about the timing? As y'all know, the system can let us look at the way that harvest plays out over the season. So I just broke it down into 2-week intervals. Again, these are just statewide totals. By the 1st of November, we've got some pretty good deer hitting the ground, good numbers there, close to 20,000 deer. And that's just after areas 2 and 3, our early seasons, have opened. So that makes sense. The gun seasons have opened, and here you've got a total here. By the 1st of December already, over half the deer have already been taken, 57% by December 1st, and that's corresponding to right after the openings of Area 1 and Area 6, which opens November 15th. Those are our late seasons where some of you guys probably hunt. By about the 1st of January, middle of January, seasons are winding down. Most of the deer have been taken. All right, getting into some parish data, parish-specific data. This chart basically shows the top dozen or so parishes where this category is total harvest. So that's important. Remember, that's the total number of deer taken in a parish. You can see that primarily these parishes are large in area, big parishes, but more importantly, the top numbers, they have a high percentage of forested habitat. So these are big parishes that are primarily woodlands. And you can see some of the numbers there. Union Parish is by far and above, once again, our top harvest parish with nearly 8,000 deer being taken there. The next three, and let me just go ahead and show y'all this on a map. I gave Union Parish its own color. It really is high. Then the next three here, Claiborne, Bienville, and Vernon are in a good category. And you can see that so the bulk of the deer harvest, a lot of the deer harvest is occurring basically from Vernon Parish on up through here through Morehouse. So this is northwest Louisiana, kind of corresponding to our northwest mixed pine hardwood physiographic region. Big rural parishes, lots of woodland, lots of hunters. Just so y'all see the numbers there, these three parishes are in the 4,000 to 5,000 range, and these are dropping down into threes. All these parishes had over 3,000 deer harvested. You can see the coastal parishes are typically where we have less deer habitat. Maybe some parishes where we have higher human populations, like St. Tammany, East Baton Rouge. Those are where a lot of people are. The Rice Prairie, this country here. So all of this makes sense and gives us a good idea of what's going on. I kind of consider anything in this color a moderate harvest. That's how we classify it. I broke these down into 1,500 deer intervals. All right, so that's the total. That's one way to look at it. Probably a little better way to look at it as far as productivity is by this analysis, where we're looking at the forested habitat per deer or forested acres per deer harvested. So once again, these are the top dozen or so parishes where harvest rates are less than 75 acres per deer. And as you can see, we've changed out here. We've gone to primarily bottomland, hardwood parishes or hardwood dominant parishes, with the exception of Union, once again, standing strong, and Morehouse that has some pine habitat. But as you can see, some of these parishes are smaller, and they're much more agricultural landscapes. Less forested habitat, so just less deer habitat in general. But the harvest rates, the acres per deer, are significantly higher. These kind of harvest rates of a deer per 32 acres, a deer per 34 acres are really good harvest rates. Those are like DMAP harvest rates. Some of our good DMAP clubs, and you got to remember that's occurring on a parish-wide basis. So those are real strong harvest rates, and like I said, this is the first dozen or so. And I show it again on a map. Once again, the high productivity areas, the bottomland hardwood along the Mississippi alluvial valley, running down through here. All these three parishes having less than 50 acres per deer, running on down through here, picking up these hardwood parishes. East Feliciana just barely made it, 1 acre. I mean, it could have very easily gone into another color. And I think that's because of some habitat issues that have been going on there. But it's still in there. It still made the cut. I broke these indices down into 50 acre intervals. Once again, even though these aren't in the top dozen, they're still showing strong harvest rates. And we call this the good piney woods that produce a lot of deer. There's a lot of timber harvest going on, a lot of browse availability, and evidently some pretty hard hunters too. You can kind of see this area right here. The historic longleaf kind of falls off, a little lower productivity. I did not do the coastal parishes because, as y'all know, a lot of deer are killed in the marsh there. So hopefully in the future I can have a map like this that's not just forested habitat but deer habitat. Lots of deer killed in the marsh. If I would have put in St. Mary and Lafourche, they would have made a color. They would have been right here in this range. Good harvest parishes, but a lot of those deer are killed in the marsh, and I didn't want to bias this analysis. So just note that. Rice Prairie regions, not so strong either. But they'd all have been, other than those two parishes, these would be yellow as well. Less than 200 acres per deer, or greater than 200 acres per deer.